And still week 6, we try to continue going with the week 6 information. We'll still discuss about summer heat worms. Now, summer heat worms without the dam here, we're talking about common patterns related to summer heat worms. First, talking about summer heat. So related summer heat, related summer worms. So Qi level pattern will be straight away due to exuberant heat signs. So big 4 and all the Bai Hu Tang syndromes, high temperatures, big thirsty, pounding pulses, and lots of sweating. If the qi is not insufficient, added additional Rensheng, so Bai Hu 加 Rensheng Tang, still same formula. Just add additional ginseng to look after qi. And this formula also good, used to control the diabetic suffering with excessive heating qi level, or diabetic suffering patient with excessive heating qi level with insufficient qi. So they may have some fatigue, may have lipid weakening pulses in general. So this is a common formula, common pattern. We're familiar with big 4 for many, many years, which is good. And second pattern, still heat in the qi level. In these situations, at the same time, they also have fluid and qi injury by summer heat pathogens. So still have a fever, still have a thirsty, still have a heat represented coating as yellow. At the same time, they have irritability and fatigue and shallow breathing, spontaneous sweat, shallow breathing. So this indicated more severe qi and fluid injury if it's spontaneous sweating involved. So if you're just using wild type decoction, Bai Hu Tang will be not sufficient. Instead, they're using American ginseng to supply the qi, assist in yin regeneration, and Shi Huo to tonify the yin, same as Mai Dong, Huang Nian to clear the heat, and Zhu Ye also clear the heat without damage the yin. Jiegen is good ingredient used in summer to regulate qi, also clear the heat. Because the 知母甘草精米. So in some way, you did not see 华氏, instead you still see 知母, you still see 甘草 and the 精米. So this is part of Bai Hu Tang composition without the 石膏. Instead using 黄连、西洋参、石货、麦冬 and 淡竹叶 to clear the heat. 禾根 is very good used in summer. It's a water lily stem, so it's a good one to help clear the heat. Also, it's good in summer to help the summer heat. So there's a Wang Shi Qing Shu Yi Qi Tang. So do not get panic when you find, oh my God, too much of Mandarin, lots of complicated name. It does not make sense for me. What I did in the class for the classics too, where I only focus on analyze the composition formula. So if I believe this formula is very important, very valuable for your future practice, right now relevant for the assessment, I'll take it. Otherwise, just explain and review what we should understanding from composition. So don't get panic. They still can help clear the heat, at the same time supply the yin and the qi more effectively. Hegen is stem of lily plants. Yes, thank you. Now, imminent collapse of the fluid and qi. So basically, when the summer heat effect causing summer heat worms, qi and body fluid is very easy causing injury or damage. So in that situations, fever will not become dominant anymore. Instead, they feel more tired and sweating. There's a typical qi collapse and the body fluid leakage, at the same time complaining thirsty and with very dry throat and very dry mouth. They may also have shortened breathing and very shallow breathing at the same time. There's typical Summerheat syndromes, we know that way. So using Summerheat, so drink as infused tea regularly or just make decoctions to drink it as a high concentrated. And this is not in the qi level anymore because there what? There's no what? There's no fevers involved. Or no noticeable fever, instead more dominant in what? With qi and the body yin deficiency. More later stage after very severe high temperatures. Tongue coating is very good indicated. If the condition have no tongue coating means what? Prognosis is positive or negative? it's negative, good. If they have tongue coating, that means still have Wei qi. So prognosis is more positive. It's good to have a little bit of tongue coating. It's good way. Because they did not mention the color of the tongue coating. So here tells you the qi level heat is not dominant. It only tells you thin tongue coating and pale red tongue body. So there's more deficiency in both yin and qi, especially thready and rapid pulses. So the 生脉散, 人参, 脉冬, 五味子 are very nice, good fruit, sweet and sour in nature, supply the yin, and sweet, warm in nature, supply the yang. They have combination both sweet, sour, and warming and sweet in conjunction. And next is Qin Yin Tang syndromes. This is easy. Tells you what pathogens has affected pericardium or nutritive level. Depends how do you interpret. So here talking about qi and yin level has been affected. At the same time, spirit or conscious also involved. So they have a fever, irritability, palpitations. At the same times, they have delirious speech or disturbing the consciousness level, and also insomnia. So this is fever. We know irritability, typical heat and qi level, with delirious speech, and this one tells you heat in the pericardium. With red, deep red tongue coating, scattered coating, is typical heat in which level? In the yin. So different part of symptoms and signs tells you different hint of the heat level. So first one is in the qi level. In the qi. And second group I circled in where? In pericardium, PC. And tongue coating, tongue color tells you problem in the nutritive yin level. Does it make sense? And because Qin Yin Tang can use to clear the heat in the qi nutritive level with additional other ingredients to help open the unconsciousness, open the orifice, and to recover the consciousness level. So if it comes and fever is still dominated, what we can do, why we also called ambulance, is do bloodletting on ear apex, which is better one, doing on ear apex. Because when they go to hospital, they require their hands and maybe doing intravenous drips. So when you see a lot of needle pointed things on their fingers, you need to give them proper explanations. But if you do ear apex bloodletting, usually they don't check ears, which is easier to minimize your duties for explanations. That's a naughty way, and easier as well. Less painful when you do ear apex bloodletting. When the heat has been affected the pericardium during the summer or due to summer heat, here also recommend some acupuncture points. So lung 11 to 6, pericardium 3, urine bladder 40. And from my personal experience, I will never use this one. I just bloodlet on ear apex or 4 fingers. If they still have very good consciousness level, it's possible. If their consciousness level already affected due to heat in the pericardium, I'll never ever choose these points. It's weird. They're already unconscious. Why do you do that on other bodies? If they're turning around, moving around, they're causing very, very bad reactions. Never doing acupuncture by itself. If you do, don't do stationary acupuncture, do quick acupuncture. Don't leave the needles there. And make sure they also practice first aid and when the pericardium has been affected for the clients. Call the ambulance at the same time if there's a hospital around. And stir of the liver wind by excessive summer heat is another common pattern could happen during the summer heat warm suffering. And due to the wind involved, you can have convulsions, muscle twitches, very rigid body types. Some even have comas. If the coma happening, and always try to practice first aid first. And if you have high temperatures, always practice bloodletting at the same time called ambulance. If no way you can connect to a hospital, practice TCM, whatever herbs is able. It is any simple one, it's better to help wake up them from unconsciousness. But bloodletting is very important, can save life. Remember, I give the example, a guy had a stroke in the airplane when they fly between the different airport and they're still in the sky. So there's no ambulance around and no medical practitioner in that hospital. So what they did is bloodletting and saved that man's life and minimized damage for his brain. So he recovered very good. So bloodletting could be very, very valuable. And do be careful if it's epidemic illness, especially it's kind of epidemics through the blood or the fluid drops. You need a proper protection for yourself and for the others after you do bloodletting. Make sure do not throw away contaminated tissues or cotton wools or any needles and throw it on unprotected areas. So you only can discuss this one when you have proper places to discuss this. Otherwise, it can cause further contaminations for the other peoples. And this is typical excessive wind or heat cause of liver, generate internal wind cause of very, very bad convulsion. And if this happens, you'll get very, very panicked. And I don't know how good we're training emotionally, mentally. If it happened for our children, I don't think we dare to do the bloodletting without call the ambulance or cry or do something emergently, because this can be very, very scary. To save the life, just a few drops of bloodletting on the end of fingers, or do you get more blood? A few drops on each fingers. You only can get a few drops. When they have very, very high temperatures and become unconscious, the body is going to what? Become unconscious to save the blood to which part of the body? To the brain. Or the extremity, you usually don't get enough bleeding comes out. So you need a massage from the arms to the fingers of the tips, massage the ears until you can see the warmth on the fingertips or on the ear apex, and do bloodletting. Now, invasion, some heat invasion to blood level, you can have bleeding, obvious bleeding, and this can be very scary. If it's early in the muscle and the skin inside, macula, maybe it's okay because not much of, the fresh blood in front of you. If the fresh bleeding comes out from the nose, from the eyes, from the mouth, from the ears, the most serious one from the ears may have brain damage. If they're from nose, from the mouth, it's kind of common. If they're from the urination, from bowel movement, and from vomiting, could be scaring for you as well. And call the ambulance straight away, and don't do any bleeding on the fingers. You may do, if the high temperature is still so vigorous, you can do bloodletting on ear apex. Don't do any spoon cupping for these stages there. So, 深吸丹, I'll leave it for self-study. None of us will have this handy when the bloodletting conditions happen. In olden days, there's no hospital around, and all the doctors have these herbs available, most of them, and all available on the seasons. You can collect it on the road and mountains by the others. So they may do emergency treatment first, and then using collected herbs to brew the herbs. Nowadays, we have medications, have doctors, they save the life much more quicker. So bloodletting for emergency only manage high temperature. They do not manage bleeding. So if the bleeding and you cannot stop, some people do recommend drinking some fresh juice made from vegetables. It's up to you. I don't recommend drinking or eating anything. I'll do bloodletting for ear apex. If there's no fever, usually no serious bleeding, maybe a little bit bleeding. If it's only maculous, and I'm not worried, just call ambulance and go to the hospital in case some epidemic illness. And there's a question, so do bloodletting before the ambulance? Once the ambulance comes, you're not allowed to do anything. Why you try to call the ambulance if you want to manage the high temperatures for family members? Only thing you can help is to do bloodletting on the ear apex or on the fingers. When the ambulance member comes here, you're not allowed to interfere anything. And also you need to inform the ambulance you did bloodlettings on the ear apex or did something. Yes. Now, I don't know is that by the law or not, but basically when ambulance comes, they take all the responsibility. They are more professional than ambulance people for the emergency situations. Do you need consent from the patient? If it's your patient, if it's your family member, you don't need consent but you still need to ask them. And I do bloodletting for you. Is that okay for a family member? If it's your client, yes, you do need consent. everything needs consent, because it's a kind of traumas. It's a kind of the invasions. It's not normal practice unless they come into your clinic doing bloodletting as a regular treatment, like some people practice bloodletting. You don't need consent. They already give you permission. That's why they come to see you. But if the people you don't know is a stranger, for one is save the life, or do bloodletting may cause some question, I may do the bloodletting and do not get consent if they're a bit unconscious and have very high temperatures. But if you don't feel comfortable, you don't need to do that. Injury to the heart and kidney by summer heat. At this stage, you're not just see the high temperature, you also hear the complaining about numbness or palpitations, severe thirsty happening. And here comes a very interesting formula called 年美饮. Because in the previous few category, we not much of patterns involved in the bitter cold herbs. But summer heat as a kind of fire element correlates heart. And Huang Nian is a very good, excellent herb to clear the heat from the heart, but it's very, very dry. When the Huang Nian used together with other sweet and cooling herbs to supply the yin, nourish yin and blood, with additional sour herbs, Wu Mei here, is forming beautiful, beautiful formula called the Nian Yi Tang. It's up to you. It's a simple formula. If you want to try this formula for your clients in the future, it's an excellent one. You can try it. What I get a hint from this kind of formula is I find Huang Nian plays a very important role, not just help control the heat in the heart. Huang Nian is actually very good ingredient to clear heat in the stomachs. And if you see people have very, 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 very tongue, good appetite, so that means they have a heat in both heart and the stomachs. And at the same time, they may do not have a strong spleen. So you can recommend them eat very, very diluted or drinking Huang Nian infusion as a tea. And for quite a few days, you can find this kind of heat in the heart and stomach very, very well managed. And there's a question, what is a substitute for Aetiology? Theoretically, none. Practically, plenty. Animal products, gelatin, so you can use Bai Mu together as a collagens with another blood tonified, with Gou Qi or Dang Gui tonified. Yes. Or just if you eat chicken, have lots of chicken skins. And any other, you eat other animal products, eat other animal skins, very good collagens as well. Even some fish soup is good to supply the collagens. Next is the remnant of the heat. Yes, bone broth, right? Yes. Remnants of heat combined with obstruction of collaterals by flame and blood stasis. So in this stage, people still have, because of remnant heat, yes, have a lower grade fever, have restlessness, tiredness, so qi deficiency comes through, and dull affected. So this dull is a kind of orifice has been affected by the flame trapped in the collaterals, so dull mind, dull concentration, slightly tremor and spasm, rigid of the limbs. This is either dampness trapped in the collateral with slightly wind due to yin injury. Possible hearing, visions also deteriorated. This is remaining heat in the qi level. Remaining heat, not beginning exuberant heat in qi level. So remaining part still related with the qi. So that's why using Sanjia Shan. So eliminate the residue of the heat, transform the flame, and invigorate circulation of collaterals, and remove the stasis, and helps restore the proper circulation of blood, also even wind. So have the combination to 鳖虫, 鳖甲, they're all byproducts of animal insects, 穿山甲, 柴胡桃仁, and 白姜蚕. So basically, they don't have much practical value for most of the clinic, for most of people in their practice. But if you have these kind of herbs handy or available, you may try to practice this kind of formula for people post severe wind suffering with a lower grade fever, and also have a remaining of a flame damp in the collateral cause of the relevant suffering. So it's a good experiment. You can have a try. And let's have a look at number 3rd part of PPT for today's summer heat worms. So previous PPT talking about summer heat without a damp, so more typically summer heat worms. Now from this PPT, this lots were talking about summer heat with associated with a damp, so summer heat worms. Summer is a very interesting season because heat reaches to the maximum level and become fire. So that's why the heat had much more passage and had much more faster progressions. But if, because the summer is also very, very hot, the humans or animals and have special inclination to drink anything cooling, overcome summer heat. So with this kind of the cold drink and eat, can possibly damage the spleen if you overindulge in cold food, especially straight away come from refrigerator. Or if people already have existing weak spleen, they are much more inclined to have dampness already exists inside with overindulgence in the cold, or just eat a little bit can further generate more dampness internally. Or if you stay very shady, very damp environment in a very hot season after walking under the sun for a few hours, and they can also affect it and by dampness in the collateral causing superficial condition. So when people suffering summer heat worms combine both summer heat pathogen and damp pathogen, principle of treatment was slightly different. You are supposed to separate it to resolve heat and the damp. So in these cases, you can apply 白虎汤 such as 石膏知母 dominant as ingredients to clear summer heat. Sometimes utilize 平胃散 仓促后铺 to manage and dampness in the middle gel. So this is quite a common herbal pair, forming 4 ingredients here to manage generally and summer damp heat involved summer heat worms in summer season. Have a look at the patterns here. Here is the most common pattern for people have both chills simultaneously, which means they have what? External unresolved pathogens in the Taiyang division. If you learn Classics 1, if you haven't, that means in the V level or in the lung systems. So basically, aversion to cold or no sweating. If it's no sweating, damp is dominated. But red face indicated there is also heat. Thirsty indicated heat has damaged the yin. Fullness sensation in the chest indicated damp has constrained the qi. And the possible nausea indicated dampness resulting in rebellious stomach qi goes up on vomiting. Greasy coating indicated damp in the middle gel. So this basically have external trap the damp with also middle gel dampness. At the same time, have a summer heat. So they have both combined V level conditions, such as this, and Qi level conditions, such as thirsty, and red faces, and nausea, vomiting is all into the Qi level condition. So we need to resolve both V and the Qi level condition by using Xiang Ru Yin or Xiang Ru San, or modified Xiang Ru Yin or Xiang Ru San. So Xiang Ru Yin is a base formula used for these conditions, and with additional modification, they have Xing Jia Xiang Ru Yin or Huang Nian Xiang Ru Yin. So what herbs in common based on this kind of formula name? Have we learned these herbs from Material Medica? Xiang Ru, Xiang Ru. So Xiang Ru is a common ingredient shared by these 3 formula. So Xiang Ru is very commonly used, valuable ingredients and in summer to clear the summer damp heat in the surface. Here's the comparisons within for these 3 Xiang Ru related formula. So this is a base formula, Xiang Ru Yin or Xiang Ru San. If it's a liquid, we call it Yin. If it's a powder, we call it San. So if you make the whole batches of the powder, and these are ratios. So Xiang Ru release exterior, damp cold, whole pu regulate the qi, remove dampness internally, Bai Dou cold strengthen the spleen and resolve the damp. So it's a very good combination. Look after surface, damp cold, damp summer damp heat and damp cold internally, and the qi trapped by damp internally as well. By added additional 金银花 and 年桥 and they call 新家香如饮. By added additional bitter cold herb 黄年 they call the 黄年香如饮. So what's the difference? If you only have a superficial, feel sick and headaches, a bit chills, nausea, vomiting, and using 香如饮. But if you feel on top of that, it also have very red tongue body, yellow greasy tongue coating, and using 黄年香如饮. But if you have a sore throat or very high, some temperatures dominated with skin rashes, and using 新家香如饮. So that's a difference between this kind of formula. Yeah, 香如 is used to replace the 麻黄, but they only induce very gentle perspirations. Yes, they're mainly using 麻黄. In summer, usually we never using 麻黄. And there's some student had experience using 麻黄 in Taiwan, did not get theoretical result. 麻黄 only can help you enhance perspiration when you have lung qi has been trapped by cold without sweating. If you don't have that pattern, you don't have good sweating. Same for the raw 麻黄 can make you high is when you don't have lots of damp trapped inside, and by smoking 麻黄 water pipes. I'm not encouraging, I just say why people using 麻黄 make them high, and then they can make them high. If your become damp personality, 麻黄 does not have the kind of rule make you high. Same, if you have very dehydrated body, you don't have, not very easy, have good perspiration. Instead, you may feel more dehydrated by using 麻黄, either smoking or drinking. And also 麻黄have different, 麻黄have different reactions. If the 麻黄powder, granule, or raw good quality 麻黄have different medicinal values or clinical values. Now here is the image of the 香如. So beautiful, nice flowers when they blossom. And after we collect it, dried it, and that's the samples we can get. And it smells very nice if it's good quality one. Not very strong. Are they salvia? I'm not sure about the English name. Sorry, Charlie. You can have a look at online very quickly. 香如, check it online very quickly. Thank you. Now, next is about summer heat. Summer heat and dampness attack the lung and the wei. So here focus on specific superficial conditions in wei level as well as partially go to qi levels. In this way, because they still have a fever, thirsty, so this typical qi level heat with additional cough and congestion chest tells you located channel in the lung system or organ is in the lung. With additional heaviness of body tells you there's internal dampness. And dizziness is possible damp trapped in the collateral. Abdominal fullness tells the location of dampness middle gel, quite dominated. Same as the tongue coat and the pulse indicate internal damp with heat combination, as with unresolved and summer conditions there. That can using 桑菊 or modified 桑菊. Now, 雷氏青年地黄汤加华石. So the name is so complicated. 华石甘草 is forming what formula we learned? 六一散, yes. 通草 is diuretic. 青蒿 is grade 1, similar like 香如. This plays very important role to clear the body's damp heat through the gentle form. And sorry for the noise. Now, 白扁豆 and 白扁豆 strengthens spleen qi, 年桥 will help clear toxic heat involved in qi level. 茯苓strengthens spleen. 西瓜 is a watermelon. 西瓜皮 watermelon, either you use green part or you can use the white part. It's up to you. Very good diuretic, clear the summer heat as well. Now, second one is both Qi and blood level has been simultaneously affected by the summer heat, damp, and this is kind of injury to the collaterals of the lung. Yes, sorry for the noise. There's a lot of noise. Yes, and also my voice is very noisy, so make people more noisy. We're competing the noise right now. So 青络饮加杏仁异花石糖 is a quite complicated formula listed here. You may do not remember all of these ingredients, but some ingredients can give us a hint why these kind of ingredients can help with summer heat. We know the Japanese honeysuckle blossom in summer, yes? And water lily, 荷叶 leaf also harvest in summer. And peel of watermelon harvest in summer, yes? So that means we're using a lot of summer products to use to clear the heat. So these are the most important things for us to understanding. And the rest is up to you. Same for the 丝瓜络, we can have the fresh or matured one and retrieved in summer. And anything else? 生地是牡丹品. Okay, so if it happened in summer, and if you're trying to protect yourself, preventing any summer heat attack for the bodies and causing injuries, so eat room temperature watermelon will be very good practice. If you don't like anything cold in nature, and you can eat mung bean azuki bean soup, eat it as a warm, and drinking the tea, very good clear the heat as well. And here is the specific for during the summer, you have a summer heat damp attack. You have similar big four condition at the same time have some level of the damp. So if you indigestion related conditions or congestion in the chest or abdomen, and you still can use 白虎汤. On top of this, add the additional 苍术. So 白虎加苍术汤 will help resolve internal damp. At the same time, 白虎汤 resolve and big four conditions in the qi levels. The next pattern is talking about, yes, Charlie.
That's back to the other slide. So with mung bean, is it because some say it is very cold and can deplete the qi? I feel like
there's no mung bean in this slice. That's what I recommend for the dietary.
The other one.
In summer, you can utilize watermelon, mung bean, azuki bean to help you protect summer heat attack. If you already have weak spleens qi, don't practice any of that. Just drinking watery and rice congee with barley. Now, these slides mention about summer heat affected qi level as well as triple burner. And so it's a more severe triple burner, it's a more broad range of the body has been affected by summer heat and damp. So lots of poor water metabolism. So here you can use 30糖 and a lot of mineral products involved from first 3-1. On top of this, you can see 杏仁、竹茹、金银花、通草 and 金子. 金子 is a kind of made from the gold. 精致, is that right? 精致 is a kind of tea or liquid and related with gold. Any of you visited Japan, is a specific shop, you still can get something related products made from gold and very expensive to enjoy one serve. That's a belief in detox. So I'll leave this for you to do self-study. Gold, yes, they say it's made from gold and drink it for detox. That's pretty much all the information we should to be aware regarding summer heat warms. Now, any questions? Summer heat warms. Now, for the revision part, there is a question. Does anyone have an e-book of the first text of that list? Now, revision part, some of the information overlapped with the information just displayed. So we just upload something different. And this formula, this is a specific image indicator formula called 片仔黄 or 片子黄. So this is composed by 麝香, 蛇胆, 牛黄, and 田山七, etc. This is a secret formula. And remember, I mentioned one of the example. One of my acquaintances rang me about 10 o'clock at night. Her nephew, got confused. Nephew has been staying in the children's hospital for quite a few days, suffering very bad high temperatures in Melbourne. And that is many, many years ago, more than 10 years ago. And the temperatures still keep going up every day, about 39, 38, and then 40 again. And all the medication using couldn't manage the temperature. So the doctor came to inform the families so that the infant may be going to suffering some damage for the brain, and because too high temperature could not be managed. So she rang me, what can help? I says, you can't interfere when you're in the hospital. And she asked question again, if it's your child, what do you do? I recommend this. She's Cantonese background, so I just asked what kind of medication you had at home, what kind of herbs. She had these at home. I said, okay, what you can do, make infusion from these herbs, and every now and then give few drops into the baby's mouth. So they did that. Next day, the temperatures has become normal. The child had very typical virus infections. Maybe just coincident, temperature should go back normal, but it's anyways one cases. If you're going to visit a Southeast Asian country, especially in the forest, in the jungle, and these are good medications, you can to keep it as kind of specific resources. They also can use for all sorts of lots of toxicity related issues in the instructions. So I'm not talking about the details and not the products. I just tells you this is specific examples I used. And also this formula, I only know that after I came to Australia by working aside of Professor Wang. He's Cantonese. He knows a lot of Cantonese products. I come from Jiangsu province, and we don't have these kind of products and commonly used in the hospital. So I never used that when I was in China. And there is a question, there are several traditional Chinese medicine in China that are state secret formulas. Yeah, this is one. When you say infusion, make a tea. Tea means infusion. You dissolve this is specific tablets or pills or whatever herbs you get after opening this package. You dissolve in water, and then you can get infusion. Infusion means you don't need brewing. You don't need cook, like make a tea. Yes, add the boiling water, hot water, doesn't matter. And you give people few drops, give the baby drops. You don't let them drink because you're vomiting. Tianqi is a sanqi. Okay. And this is another formula I mentioned that you Middle East had very, very bad, come from Israel. Remember that cases? He had very bad virus infections, and now use this one. So I'm not keep going this one. Okay, that is what we have been going through today. Concept features of summer heat worms or summer heat damp worms. Also discussed common etiologies, pathogenesis during the summer heat worm suffering. Discussed very briefly about progression treatment principles in summer heat worms. And common patterns during suffering of summer heat worms. Okay, any of you still have questions regarding the concept of summer heat worms? So that means this fever dominant condition happen in summer. Yes, that's it. A very fast transmission. That's all. And the difference between summer heat worms and summer damp heat worms is due to if you have a stronger stomachs, you're easier have summer heat worms attack. If you have a weak spleen qi, very easy have summer heat damp worms attack. So this is due to a precursor constitution. If summer heat attacked you, very easy to have a qi, body yin injury. And easier for this kind of passage of summer heat, go to yin and blood level. And if you have summer damp heat affect you, very resulting digestion disorder as a kind of end products, or if you have a flame lodged in the collaterals. Everything based on constitutions, like COVID-19 virus. Some people get it, and all the clinical presentation like had a common cold. Some people had it and like had a stroke. Some people had it, had very bad pneumonia-related conditions. So everything based on constitution as well as external pathogens. Yes, thank you. Okay, any difficulty to understanding information presenting slides here? If you keep quiet, that means there's no questions at all. So common symptom and signs. So when problem happen in summer with very, very high temperatures, especially shows exuberant heat in the qi level, you know it is summer heat. And 白虎汤, 白虎加人参汤 is quite commonly used. If they have any kind of damping middle gel, using 白虎加苍术汤. Now, severe internal heat very easy damage yin and qi. Why? Because summer corresponds to what? Element of fire. Fire is very easy what? Generally yin, not generally, sorry, damage yin and the qi. And why they can result possible yang collapse for the summer heat worms. How should we understand this? When both yin and qi had serious injury, what's happening? So no more what? The carry of the qi, and no more qi can struggling. The yang will be collapsed. That's why resulting summer heat stroke and collapse, and in the driveway, a collapse on the street. So that's why it can happen in summer heat strokes. They intensify the heat very easy to transmit into nutritive level or blood level, resulting bleeding, convulsion, coma, or geographic tongue coating or macula. So there's two different basic summer patterns in the summer heat worms. One is summer heat worms, one is summer heat damp worms, based on individual constitution, lifestyle, weather, and living environment. This you can very easily fill it up with previous slides information. Same for this one, which is very easy. You already have this information, had good answers from the original slides and blackboard. Here is something we need to remind you again and again for the principle, the herbal selections, the principle treatment. For the summer heat worms at early stage, we have to disperse, vent the summer heat with pungent cool herbs, such as xiangru and qinghao, very gentle, typical one for Wenbing practice, or you can use herbs in the Sangqu Yin as well. Or if the fluid and the qi has been injured, we have to using sweet cooling herbs such as Maisan compositions, and part of composition inside 白虎汤, 锦米, 炙甘草, and 知母. At later stage, we have to consolidate the qi and the yin, so sour, bitter, and sweet herbs such as 莲梅饮 and 乌梅, 玄参, and a lot of yin-tonified ingredients can be used. For heat in the nutritive level, clear the heat from the yin, from nutritive yin, while vent heat out through the qi level. So you can see when the heat in nutritive level, not just treat itself, and also we need to vent the heat out through more superficial level. So from here to vent it out to superficial level, which is much easier to treat and can avoid further deterioration of body fluid. When the flame heat obstructs the pericardium, clear the heat. At the same time, we have to remove the flame to restore the functioning of orifice. If summer heat disturbs the blood, cool the blood, and also remove stasis. And when the bleeding comes out of the blood vessel, can causing One is a kind of symptom, second can be the possible causes result further stagnations. So that's why. And stop bleeding, clear the heat, also remove stasis should be practiced simultaneously. Heat disturbing causing internal wind, cool the heat related to the liver organ, also need to extinguish wind symptoms suffering. If the heat injury the blood and causing both liver and kidney injury, nourish the yin components or jing components. So this is wrong. Should be yin here. Should be put the yin. Should be yin here. That would be very essential because tonify the blood and tonify yin is different. There's specific notes regarding summer heat worms attack. Treating the illness on time is very essential, especially during the qi level suffering. We have to control the temperature to prevent further progressions. In the qi levels, pathogens causing serious damage and functional disorder. Once a further deterioration can affect the pericardium, affect nutritive level of the blood level, or damage further yin of liver or kidney, can cause more structure changes or injuries. So for the summer heat damp worms, if the summer heat damp worms constrain the qi in the middle gel, and very gentle aromatic cooling herbs can be used in conjunction with herbs to clear the heat and qi level. And if the summer heat damp permeated in the Sanjiao triple burner, we need to clear the heat at the same time as eliminate damp, unblock Sanjiao's pathway. Sanjiao's pathway should not be blocked because Sanjiao performs not just water metabolism, also specific pathway for the qi, dynamic circulation and transformations. Number third, for summer heat worms, if the flame blockage the channels, apply the herbs to remove the flame and also remove stasis to open the channel to restore the proper orifice functions. If a summer heat last one invaded to pericardium or livers causing inner wind, and control the or unblockage the orifice of the pericardium and easing the wind is very essential at the same time to control the heat, manage the heat. So basically, still based on the differential diagnosis and treated accordingly. And let's have a look if we can match choosing, at least we should be able to find which pattern we should be using Bai Hu Tang. And this one and this one. Have a try if we can draw the line to match the left column with the right side of formula names. So number C, 生脉散. Number E, the liver wind with excess of summer heat, 灵桥钩藤饮. How about the 白虎汤? We have to know the 白虎汤. Invasion of blood level by summer heat, 神息丹. Heat attack the stomachs, 白虎汤. Lian Mei Ying. Are you sure Lian Mei Ying? Lian Mei Ying invaded pericardium, yes, with summer heat, 营桥. So, okay. Oh God. All right. So are we all agree for the summer heat attack stomachs using 白虎汤? Not second one. How about second one? So which one? We should do number one or number third? So first one for first one, second one for second one. Okay, how about number C? Nobody do number C. Somebody missed the number C. When the qi and the fluid collapsed is, yeah, 生脉散. Okay. Invasion pericardium by summer heat. Yes, you can using 年梅汤 if the heat has not causing unconscious yet. If the unconscious happening, 黄年 is not enough to deal with that. And they can use together with other herbs to help open orifice. Yes. Stirred of liver wind with excessive summer heat, Lian Qiao Gou Teng Yin will agree invasion of blood level by summer heat. Qing Yin Tang, excellent. And injury of the heart and the kidney by summer heat. Nian Mei Yin. And remnant of heat combined with obstruction collateral of the flame. Blood stasis. So maybe last one. Maybe last one. Yes? Okay, good. Thank you. Now, this is a specific formula comparison between 青鼠异香 and 白虎加人参汤. We learned the 青鼠异香 in formula. We learned 白虎汤 in formula. So 白虎加人参汤 just a 白虎汤 with additional 人参. And they have lots of similarities, and both of them can use for excessive heat in qi level. This formula focus more on the qi consolidations, and with more qi deficiency, indeficiency, after suffering summer heat or post chemo radiation therapy. Same for the 白虎加人参汤 can clear the heat, supply the yin and the qi. And the heat clearing is slightly different, so we do not have bitter cooling herbs in the 白虎加人参汤, but in the 青鼠益气汤. So they here mention they may have emotional disturbing, like irritability, anxious involved. So this will be better using 青鼠益气汤 here. So you can read it through and very clearly understanding. They all can help clear the heat, strengthen the qi and the body fluid for focusing slightly differently. Same for the difference between Nian Mei Tang and Huang Nian Jiao Tang. They're all using Huang Nian in the level and also have the similar Jiaos in the formula. And the different thing is the Lian Mei Tang we were introduced in Wenbing. Huang Nian Jiao Tang we introduced in the Sanghan. That's the sources are different. And both of these had animal products as well. So have more additional egg yolk for the Huang Nian Jiao Tang. But both of these formula can help clear the heart fire and nourish the kidney yin, focusing slightly different. First aid, basic first aid skills are very necessary for us to restore. Now let's have a look. Here is the syndrome differential diagnosis syndromes and the formula. Have a look if we can match the pattern with their formula regarding summer heat, damp, warm pattern conditions. Xinjia Xiangru Yin. So internal summer heat and damp plus external cold. Summer heat damp attacking lung and wei, 雷是清凉，地属汤加味，三食汤 collateral. Okay, you check your answers with yourself. I only want to answer one. Number D here. Accumulations of summer heat with dampness middle gel. So this is the most practical formula and pattern. We have to know this one. All the rest you can check from the ready information in the blackboard. Okay, here's additional same thing to comparison between these three formula. Here same for the formula comparison between mineral dominated herbs as well as kernel dominated herbs. Both of these can deal with damp heat pattern in the summer warm suffering. And I'll leave you for self-study. Is that okay? All right. And I'll leave this for yourself to study as well, because when you go through more further research for the Wenbing, so many different formulas, so many different terms, so many different knowledge will be used as well. Okay, just have a try 1 or 2 case study to review the information we learned today. Fever, irritability, thirst tells you heat level. With additional fatigue, shallow breathing, spontaneous sweating tells you what? Qi is getting stronger, getting weaker. Good. There's excessive heat in qi level with additional qi deficiency and possible yin deficiency. So qing shu yi qi tang can be used. If you're choosing Shen Mai San does not have a sufficient or enough herbs to clear the summer heat. So qing shu yi qi tang, so clear the summer heat and also supply the qi. That's the original formula. How about this? This is more for damp heat in the summer. So it's not damp heat involved. So we cannot use this. It's not an appropriate one. And all right, next one. Fever, irritability, redness, hot in the chest, palpitation, severe thirst, numbness of tendon. This is very severe. And the thin, rapid pulses. So still have a heat, but affected what? Affect what organ? And also with severe thirsty, so this is still series of heat. So Nian Mei Tang, so heart has been affected, not pericardium. If a pericardium affected, it will be unconsciousness, delirious speech. So here is a heart, as the virtual heart. That's why I have these hot sensations here. So Nian Mei Tang will be used. 栀子池汤 will be not strong enough, too weak. Wu Mei Wan is not for intestinal parasites, so definitely it's not. So we need to apply the Huang Nian together with other yin tonified ingredients here. There's no convulsions here, so it's a lack of nourishment due to heat damage the yin. Now, how about this? There's no fever involved. Instead, tiredness, sweating, and sweating easily or spontaneous sweating, thirst, dry throat, short breathing or very shallow breathing, pale tongue body with halting and dryness, things ready, weak and rapid pulses. It's a typical what? The qi is deficiency, yin is injured, using Shen Mai San. And that's it. All right, this one is clear. Still have a fever. So which level of heat has been affected? So this is a qi. Yes, here is a qi. But here is what? Pericardium. Good. Both qi level and pericardium has been affected due to excessive heat. How about this? Nutritive also be affected. So we need using qing yin tang here. Is heat and nutritive level, because all the formula, all the ingredients in the qing yin tang can clear the heat in qi, nutritive and blood level simultaneously, and also can help dealing with this delirious speech and unconscious related. So based on this range of choices, this is a good one. These three formula is called three treasures and used in Sanghan treatment for summer heat wounds. Shen Mai San, Zhen Ye Tang, and the Qing Yin Tang. But we know Qing Yin Tang is modified of Zhen Ye Tang, yes? And Mai San have some Ren Shen Mai Dong with good supply both Qi and Yin simultaneously. Have a look at this pattern. Fever, thirsty, cough, chest distension, heaviness of the body and the head, dizziness, abdominal dullness. So here you can feel you can see the heat. Also see what? Damp. So they have some level, some damp heat warmth involved. So we have excessive in qi level, involved organ of the lung or upper gels here. Also have a dampness constraint, cause of channel obstructions, heaviness of body and head, abdominal fullness, internal dampness, restrict the qi, abdominal fullness there. So Xing Jia Xiang Ru Yin. So Shang Ju Yin definitely is not suitable because too much of dampness internally 类似清凉气地黄法。It depends if you could remember the formula. If you can't remember, choosing this one always good because xiangru can resolve this kind of damp trapped in the collateral. With additional ingredients can help manage this kind of heat. Please, can you advise the diagnosis and principle of treatment or email for each cases? Okay, what's the diagnosis for this case? Damp cold, summer dampness trapped in the collateral, and also with heat in the chi levels simultaneously. So both weak chi level has affected by summer damp heat. So principal treatment will disperse superficial trap the damp, and also need to clear the heat in the chi levels, and with aromatic transform damp in the middle gel simultaneously. So for the formula, ideally here is using this formula, but if we are not remember these formulas, it's fine. We're using whatever could remember the one. Next one is high fever, thirsty, acute onset condition. This is excessive in chi level, vexation, muddled consciousness. Cough with the blood. Yes, Wenli.
Yimei, could we back to the case study 5? Yeah, yeah, this one. So this is the tongue coating, which is the white coat. So
yeah, the white coating tells you there's a damp coated middle gel.
But
that's why they have abdominal fullness there.
Right, but this is the cold and heat.
This is have a heat in the chi level. That's a rapid pulse. Dampness constrain the chi. That's why I have softer pulses there. The tongue body must be red. That's why I have rapid pulses there. There's a fever and a thirst.
But this
it's
is
typical heat in chi level. Yeah, this tells you they have a damp coat in the middle gel. Yes.
Damp coat in the middle gel, but it didn't not hot, not heat. This is the cold.
This is a heat in the chi level.
Okay.
Fever and thirst and rapid pulse.
All right, so not
it's a combination of both. Yeah.
Right.
So they have a cold, damp, trapped in collateral, causing heaviness of body and head. Yes. Yeah. And also have a damp internal middle gel, have a greasy white tongue coating, and abdominal fullness there. And at the same time, because summer happening in summer, it's summer damp heat warms, and they have a heat affect chi level, causing fever, thirsty, and rapid pulse. So summer heat warm is most complicated. Mix both yin and yang pathogens together. Mix both the heat and the cold damp simultaneously. So that's why I mentioned previously. In the summer, usually people eat what kind of dishes? We eat all easily to eat what? Ice cream, cold drinks, cold beers, icy beers, cold salad. We make specific salad and leave it in the refrigerator until it becomes chill salad. We serve to the guests. Yes, that's the season where very easy to have a damp cold produced if you have exist weak spleen. So it's only happening when we do not have a strong spleen. And heat also can stay in the chi level, resulting fever and thirst.
But from the formula 加味相如饮, which is in hope in this formula, and lentil and yinhua. So this is actually for the
yeah, yinhua can help clear the heat in the chi level. Hope and xiangru can resolve damping both internally and externally. These are not strong enough, this formula, but they can be used.
Right.
As I said, if you cannot recognize other formula, these can be used as second options. Theoretically, this should be best, but because we did not learn this formula, I do not try to emphasize this one. If you read the slides, next one, here just revisions of next formulas for these compositions and insight exactly. That's why this formula can be used.
I got it. So don't worry about the coat, tongue coat is white tongue coat, right?
You still need to worry about it because this tells us what? Tells us there's damp coat internally in the middle gel. So that means patient have a strong spleen or weak spleen.
In my mind, I always think the whole pearl, which is for the heat condition, but this is like a little bit the cold condition.
Okay, whole pool can apply for both cold or heat condition, depends on herbal combination. Whole pool by itself is aromatic and horrible smells, Magnolian bark, very aromatic, warming in nature. Whole pool is one of the composition in the 大承细汤, used together with 大黄芒硝 and 后朴子石 together.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we really need to be brave to try to help ask questions. Thank you very much for asking questions. We help everybody understand all together. Now this one with conscious has been muddled with bleeding. Is that severe conditions, we should call the ambulance, so we can stay at home and take 1 hour to call your supervisor, make an appointment, another hour to brewing the tea and waiting for the magic to come through. Call ambulance. The only thing we could manage for bloodletting, manage the possible temperature. When temperature settles, maybe conscious come back. But theoretically, what formula will be involved is this formula. And it's very, very complicated one. I'll leave it for self-study. And same for, this is different. This one we can manage. Fever, vexation, thirsty, profuse sweating, flooding pulses. So they still have what, the 白虎汤 syndromes. Yeah, still 白虎汤. On top of that, there's something else as heaviness of bodies and yellow greasy tongue coat. 白虎. So there's internal excessive heat combined with the damp in the qi level. That's why we need clear the heat, transform the dampness, and using 白虎加人参汤. Have we received this message through the zip file many weeks ago? Checking the previous my class information, Sarah, and all of this information in the zip file. Now, once the cough comes out with bleeding, no matter it's a small bleeding or big chunk of blood clots, if the tongues are so red, pulse so rapid, temperature very, very high, be careful, especially if they have this. Nowadays, we need to check if you have COVID-19, isn't it? Dementia sensories is very serious. So be careful. Do not just try manage at home if they're very, very high temperature, if it comes like this. And you may need to consult it to have some further attention from others if you could not resolve on time. Have a look what kind of pattern this one belongs to. What the pattern belongs to. Because they have absence of thirst, means of what? Absence of severe thirst. Urine is very, very dark, so very, very dehydrated, cloudy. Vaginal discharges. Red face, possible sweating. It's probably nutritive level. Are they in the nutritive level yet? So only red tongue body, yellow greasy tongue coating. Cough with blood tinged flame, chest distension, diminished sensory, fullness in the abdomen. What's that? It's a lot of damp, trapped all the pathway of the qi and the body fluid. And then we need to clear the heat, resolve the damp in the up, middle, and the lower jiao. 三十汤. So using this mineral to clear the heat through diuretic. And use this one to help clear the heat, resolve the dampness trapped in the middle gel. And that's all for today's information. And there's a lot we go through for the revision for the last week. So that means we also had one-time presentations already as a kind of discussions. Now, in the future, you prefer go through these kind of revisions in the class or prefer to do this by yourself? We can focus on the exercise. It's up to you. Together, all right, together. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much. And that's all